Okay, welcome back. Today I'm going to be cooking up a Metro Boomin dark Cubeatz sort of beat. I'll be using some nice Omnisphere bells and then some pretty stock standard basic trap drums, and then we'll see where we can go from there. For now though, I'll just get started by laying down like a chord progression or little melody in a piano, and then I'll bring that into a sound that I'll find in Omnisphere. So here I've got a 1-6-6-5 chord progression in F sharp harmonic minor. So harmonic means that the 7th is raised, so in the key of F sharp minor. You can also call this one Aeolian or natural. This F would actually be an E. So that would make this 5 sound like this. That's fine, but we raise the 7th, so the E is the 7th in this F sharp minor scale. We raise that up 1 semitone, and here's what the 5 sounds like now. By itself doesn't do too much, but it does add a bit more tension, and I really like the sound it's got. It's really nice for trap beats, so whenever you're working in minor scales, just test out raising that 7th. But yeah, we've got the 1-6-6-5. That 5 is really nice, bit of tension that wants to resolve into that 1 again, so it loops quite nicely. And then I think this repeated 6 is quite nice. It's pretty predictable. So what I'm going to do now, I'll just use some inversions. First I'll bring these root notes down. And now I guess I'll invert these like this. And we'll play through this. That's quite nice. I think now I'm going to arpeggiate these. Might get rid of these root notes, we'll see. But I think an ARP would be nice when I eventually pair this with a bell. I'm pretty happy with this. These root notes I've changed up a little bit. They're not following the root of each chord. However, I'm pretty happy with this pattern. So I'm starting off with an F sharp. Then I'm going to the D, so that F sharp, obviously, root, so it's nice to come back to when it starts looping. That D is the 6th, so it flows quite nicely into when we start with this 6th chord. But then for the second 6th, I didn't really like repeating that D, so I took it to the B, which in F sharp harmonic minor is the 4. So the 4 and 5 are the ones that have the most tension. So the 4 builds up the tension a little bit, even though it's not in the same chord that it's playing under. And then we come to this G sharp, which is in the 5 chord. So that is just furthering the effect of that 5 to wanting to resolve back to that F sharp. So you can sort of hear that G sharp, really wants to fall back to that F sharp. So I'll just play through that now for you. Loops really quite nicely in my opinion. Now I'm going to open up an Omnisphere, and in this patch browser I think I'm going to go through the bells and vibes sort of section, and I might go bells synth or maybe bells analog. I'll just have a look and see whether any pique my interest. Okay, found this sound that I'm quite happy with. JX03 soft sines. Now if you're looking for dark sort of bell sounds, anything with sines is probably going to be good. So here's what this is sounding like. With a bit of effect work like RC20, that sort of stuff, I think I can get this sounding almost like a full melody just by itself, but I do plan on layering this with other sounds, maybe some analog lab presets, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Just for now, I'm going to link this to a mixer insert, Control L, and then open up maybe RC20, a bit of EQ, and see what I can really get out of this sound. So I'm quite happy with this. Got the RC20 going there, then a halftime, then 2 EQs. So just a high pass and then a couple of frequencies I wasn't happy with. Pretty simple sort of stuff, just a bit of distortion, little tiny bit of digital, bit of reverb, and then some noise in the RC20, and then on the quarter beat with that halftime, quarter bar, I don't know. And here's what that's sounding like now. Now I might actually open up another Omnisphere because I'm looking for like some sort of percussive sound to pretty much just mirror this sort of melody, because this sounds a bit too soft right now. I think I'd like some sort of texture, but then I think once I've got that, this melody might be done. Quite happy with this sound I found. Blue Nile small sticks, chuck the halftime on it of course. Got an EQ there, little tiny bit of delay, you can sort of see that level and weight is down quite a bit. Then another EQ and then a pan man on the end. Love this plugin. And here's what it's sounding like. Really nice sort of sound in the background there. I think I will open up Analog Lab and look for one more like pad sort of synth sound to chuck in the back. So I've just added this little pad following the main chords from Analog Lab, and now I'm going to split these by channel because they're all in one pattern. Get rid of this top one because that's a piano. Then take these three, Control B them out like this, and I think I'm just going to export these stems. So I'll leave 1 bar gaps in between for reverb tails and that sort of stuff. So you can see here we've got all 3 layers like that. Now I'm going to come to my master, enable recording, Alt R, and then, whoops, make sure you selected song, then Alt R, and hit start. Okay, cool. Now that this is all rendered out, I can set the mode to stretch, can normalize it, bring that volume down just a little bit, and now play around with the pitch of it. So I'm going to chop these up into little separate sections, bring them all like that, get rid of these, and I've pitched it down 500 cents. Here's what it's sounding like. Get rid of that click by selecting generic as the declicking mode. Perfect. So now we've got all our stems for that melody. We can affect all of them on one channel if we wanted to, so we could chuck a halftime or an RC20 on just one insert and affect all of them, and then of course we can make unique if we want to have multiple inserts. Now though, I'm going to lay down this pattern 6 and start with some drums. Okay, so I've loaded up some sounds here. I'm going to firstly assign all these to mixer inserts, select all of them with Control Shift and then hit Control L. And now I'm going to lay down a fill each 2 steps for that hi-hat and then chuck the clap there and there. I don't know, hang on. Perfect. Now let's see what that's sounding like. Cool, happy enough with that. Just going to shorten this up a little bit, Shift D, and then I'm going to actually fill this each 4 steps and grab one of these, Shift to drag, Alt mouse wheel down, so it's a bit like a shaker. You can sort of feel your head bounce a bit easier to that one. Now I'm going to fill in some snares and perks just to close up some gaps in this bounce. Pretty happy with this. I'm going to do a bit of leveling and panning at some stage when I get onto the mixing, but this bounce is quite nice. Might be a bit full on, but we'll see when we add the kick and 808, which is our next step. So I'll find a nice kick and a nice 808, probably just a spins 808 because it is a Metro Boomin type beat. And one thing I did forget to add is a triangle, so I'll also include that. So I've got my kick, 808, and I added that triangle in. Now I'm going to lay down a nice little 808 pattern. I'll just copy these root notes, so we've got them here. Paste, perfect, awesome. So they're all F sharp. first things first, obviously, I'll take this down 500 cents, so 5 semitones, shift down arrow 5 times. Now I'll see what notes I like out of these chords, and then use those. I think I'll go with the C sharp, E, E, D sharp. I'll just keep that E, E there because that's the chord progression. And then start off with the root note, and then the D sharp's got a little bit of tension. So now I'll just chop it up, give it a bit more bounce, and then just chuck the kick where I want it. Okay, I'm happy enough with this, so I'll just play the drums by themselves now. What I've done to this 808, just chopped it up a little bit. You can sort of see, left it there with the clap hits, left it there with the clap hits, and then comes back and then has this little roll sort of section there. And then I've got a kick to just hit on some of those important ones. So here's the drums. Happy enough with that. Now I'm going to get onto some mixing and then I'll start the arrangement. So what I've done here, taken most of them just down quite a bit, panned some of the rim shots and perks in that left and right just to add a bit of stereo depth. Made sure the clap is lower than the 808, it's just my personal preference. I don't like harsh claps. Then the hi-hat brought that down a bit. And then I've sidechained this kick to both the 808 and the melody. I think most Metro beats don't have this going on, but it's my personal preference. I enjoy when a kick can punch through, so that's what I've opted to go for. Now I'm going to split this drum pattern by channel, bring them all out like this, lengthen those two out like that, get rid of that, copy these along. And now I'm going to start arranging this beat out. Okay, so I've done a lot. I'm pretty much finished, I think. What I've done here. So you saw me like Control B, all of these out. So it's just a huge block of pretty much this just repeated for that whole length. What I ended up doing, pretty much mainly just reduction. And by reduction, I mean taking out stuff that was already there. So for the intro, it's just this one clip playing. Then of course my tag, I added that in. But yeah, then these other layers come in, just makes it feel a bit more full. Then I've got the hat and clap going for the first half of those 4 bars. And then the last 2 bars have this kick and 808 come in. This little pause with the hi-hat is quite nice. Adds a bit of a feeling of, oh, what's going to happen next. And then the 808 and kick comes in really nice, especially with that sidechain. Really punches through. Then I've just repeated that effect pretty much over here for all of the other sounds to come in. Main one is just that hi-hat, open hat crashing on the one. And then we've got 4 bars pretty much, little gap here from the first 2 bars to the second 2 bars in this 4 bar thing. And then everything else cuts out apart from the 808 with that little 808 roll. And then I got a little crash with a bit of reverb. Then I've got a big block here after like a little breakdown or whatever. Big block here pretty much, a couple gaps here and there. Hi-hat cuts out for certain spots. That's nice, just slows the track down a little bit. And then we've got another one of those pretty much, except a bit longer. So I've got a breakdown, but it's 8 bars. And then these other ones come in for the last 4 bars. And then we've got another 4 bars of all the drums and stuff. I think this is just a repeat of what's over here pretty much. And then a 4 bar outro there with just what we started with in the intro. So really not too much going on. It's mainly just listening through it, looping it, seeing where some pauses would sound nice, where you can sort of build tension and then take it away and then resolve it, all that good stuff. And just making sure it doesn't drag on for too long pretty much. In terms of mixing, didn't really do anything else, just brought that triangle down a little bit because it was cutting through the mix a bit too much. So that's about it. I'll play this beat just after this. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you later.
Sa.